Hi, and welcome back to AFTV Live. Me and James here to discuss.
What is this, your Trossard celebration?
It's a celebration.
Fair
it's
enough.
always like we're trying to hunt someone down. We got this now. We have Eddie trying to ring someone. Someone's gone missing. It's good. I'm happy. I'm very happy.
Listen, I'm
very
delighted.
happy.
I was actually asked about this yesterday, this potential deal.
Yep.
By Robbie, and I was a bit hesitant, and I watched it back so I could see what I said yesterday. Because this morning do you know what? This is a real experiment in how much do we just get excited about signings and how much do we get excited by players. And this morning when I saw we were in for Trossard, I got excited. And then I realised, I was asked about this yesterday, I forgot I was. And my reaction at the time to Robbie was, I prefer him over no one. I think he's a good player. It feels underwhelming after Mudryk.
Yep.
But I was glad we were bringing someone in. And then this morning I got really excited when I saw the news that we were linked with him. And I think overall the excitement is part to do with the player that we're bringing in, because I do think he's a good player, and we'll talk about him more in this. But a big part is that Edu and Arteta and everyone involved in the recruitment responding exactly the way I hoped they would. Cool. You didn't get your first target, but let's wait and see what they do. They reacted very, very quickly, and that's what I really like.
And you have probably more faith in Arsenal now, that in the sense that, Zinchenko wasn't the first target. It was more Lisandro Martinez, and look how good Zinchenko's been for us. Does that give you a bit more confidence that this wasn't a panic? I know, and I'll be honest. Yeah. For me, when I first got asked about Trossard, again, same feeling. I felt underwhelmed because of what happened with Mudryk. I was very hurt that we didn't sign Mudryk. I was also hurt about the João Felix signing to Chelsea as well. So that did sting me a bit. But Trossard did feel underwhelming. But listen, I've now slept on it. He's now an Arsenal player. I'm happy.
Do you have a nap?
I slept on it last night. When I got asked.
Right. After this morning. Quick 3 p.m. nap, and then just see how I feel in a bit.
Fabrizio's tweets, let me have a nap. Okay, I've slept on it now.
I mean, there's so much to explore, and I want to sort of try and have a degree of structure to these thoughts on Trossard.
Yes.
Where do you want to start? Do you want to talk about the player? Do you want to talk about the deal and what we didn't do this summer? How should we explore this first?
We have to go around to every facet. We have to go into each branch and discuss it properly, tear it apart. Guys, get involved as well in the comments. I see you guys sending through chats already. Thank you very much. Good start. We're going to be reading them all out. Can we please get a poll in as well, the chat, to see if you're happy with the signing of Trossard, yes or no? I'm sure most will be yes, but it'd be interesting to see some no's and whys. But where should we begin?
I think it's start on the player.
Okay.
Let's start on the player and the thoughts on... Got an hour show to fill. No, I'm kidding. But guys, do get your comments in and your thoughts. And of course, if you saw the AFTV Fan Zone yesterday, then you'll know that we will be bringing in the opportunity for you guys to have your thoughts. I don't think it's on this show today, but from tomorrow, I believe. It's not 100% sure, but we'll let you know. So we'll be getting your thoughts. So, okay, Trossard, the player.
Let's go.
Let's talk about Trossard, the player. That doesn't mean the off-field stuff and all that.
Yes.
Trossard, the player.
Okay, that's a good way to look at it. Let's do it.
I can say with absolute, confidence, none of this is just sort of saying it because we've signed him or whatever. I've always thought he looks a really, really good player. Mm-hmm. He's very tidy, superb with both feet. I mean, he can score left foot, right foot. He could play across 3 positions.
Yep.
I think there's a little bit of discussion on Twitter about whether, you're going to need fullbacks that overlap and you're going to need sort of runners around him. I think he's quick. I think he's quick. He can take players on. He's not explosive quick. He's not Mudryk power quick, but he looks. He's not. He is. I've seen him. He's a quick player who can do things in tight spaces. Who can do things on the break and transition. The fact that he can play across multiple positions is a big thing.
100%.
Because when we're going into the real depths of the season, when you've got the Europa League coming up, the FA Cup, and Arteta's trying to mix things up, who's to say you don't one day play, I don't know, Martinelli on the right and Nketiah, Trossard on the left? Okay, well, let's mix it up. Saka, Trossard up front, Martinelli on the left. Or Jesus on the right and Nketiah up front, Trossard on the left. You can mix this, you can mix that front 3 up in so many ways because Trossard's got that ability to play left and right. Left and down the middle. Can he play on the right? I think maybe.
Yeah, we haven't seen much.
I don't think he's had as many. We'll be doing an in focus breakdown, so we'll explore how many appearances he's made on the right. But he's even played as a wing back. He's played as a sort of a wing back in a 3-3-4 shape for Brighton and a few other positions. He's played in more central areas. He allows, he could play as a false nine, leading the line, leading the press. And Jesus can cover on the right as he has to. It's not like Jesus is scoring so many goals that you feel like you can't move him from the number 9 position.
Very good point.
So I think his versatility is a massive thing. And, apart from how good he is just on the eye, just look at the goals he has scored. The opener at the Emirates, the winner at Tottenham. That feint.
The opener at the Emirates, what was that? That was when he hit it first time?
When they beat us 2-1,
yeah,
it was cut across.
Yeah, and he
top
hit it.
corner.
Yeah, top corner. Yeah, that was a very good finish. There was a lot of bodies in front of him.
He scored at the Emirates, he scored at the Etihad, he scored at Tottenham, he's got a hat-trick at Liverpool.
Wow, yes.
And he scored against Chelsea. I don't know if it's at the Bridge, but he's definitely scored at home against Chelsea. So he scored against the big six, as they say. He is a player, and these aren't just the final goal in a 4-1 win. He is scoring big goals. He scored the hat-trick at Liverpool to put them 2-0 up and then get the equaliser. He is scoring big goals in big games as an underdog, and that's a big thing. Arsenal, the whole complex around Arsenal this season has been, but you won't win the league, but you'll fall away, but this, but that, okay, but Tottenham away, that's when, or Liverpool, that's when it happens. And he is constantly, for Brighton, where Brighton wouldn't have been favourites against some of these bigger sides, gone in and scored goals and performed brilliantly. And I think there is a player who's got the quality but mentality as well that can absolutely give something to Arsenal this season.
I love that you said, he's not the main man. He's the underdog. It's like Zinchenko's the underdog at City. We got him done really well. Mudryk would have felt like more of a star at Shakhtar Donetsk, and coming to Arsenal would have been a big, for the price tag, it was 88 million. It'd be a big lot of pressure on his shoulders. Trossard's coming in 27 million. A player of absolute quality. I spoke with a Brighton fan. I've got a friend who I'm close with. He said Trossard did fall off a little bit after the World Cup. He admits as a Brighton fan. But for me, what I've seen of him, the goals at the Emirates, the goals against the big side, he's very electric. He's got, like you said, plays with both feet. He has that head down running mentality, kind of like Martinelli. He's very versatile. Go on.
Sorry to cut you. He's got, and I'm not comparing the players, that they are different in a lot of ways.
Yes.
But his close control.
Oh yeah.
It's not as good as this player. Arsenal player. Okay, fans watch this. Please don't run away with what I'm about to say. But there are little moments where he spins, and it's very Cazorla-esque. That kind of, because he's quite good with both feet tight, and he can sort of just, you think he's not going to come out with the ball, and he does, that kind of thing. And, I was, I watched the Premier League, I've watched Brighton, and I've always been very impressed with him. And then, of course, we're signing him. So you go on YouTube, let's remind ourselves. and then you notice the things you didn't notice, the little things he does on the pitch, away from the goals and everything. The goals I'm watching, the highlight reel, I've seen all that. But it's the little things as well in game that are important for press resistance, that are important for, cohesion in an attacking system and all that. Those kind of things that have been really impressive.
Yeah, no, he's been super. I'm happy. I'm very happy. Yeah, it does. Again, it feels a bit sore after the Madrid deal, but Arsenal sticking with this mentality.
I think we should explore that as well.
We will. We definitely have to, because Arsenal have stuck to their guns in doing the right business, not overspending. And we're going to have to go into the conversation of, well, you only paid 27 million. Can we expect another signing? But we'll get to that later, because I think that's fair from Arsenal fans, including myself. But yes, it feels good. I mean, Trossard, very good, both-footed, cuts in. Some of the goals he scored, we mentioned it. The only thing I do question is Martinelli on that side. And then we have Emile Smith-Rowe returning. And now you have Trossard on the left. Now, I know you mentioned Emile Smith-Rowe might be covered for Xhaka. They might be looking to put him in that role. But is there a sense of do you feel for Martinelli, people watching? He's got now 2 players in competition for that spot. And I know we're a big club. We have to act like a big club. There has to be competition. But on the other side, Bukayo Saka.
No, I think it's fantastic for Martinelli.
Okay.
I do. Because
Go.
Because, in fact, let me just get this. Let me just save these super chats and comments that are coming in.
I've got them.
Have you got? All right, I'll leave it to you, because I'm worried about losing them. There's and some great comments coming in as well. So we'll get to them in a sec. But no, I think it's good for Martinelli. The one thing we didn't really want to talk about was if Mudryk came in for 85 million or whatever it is. It's very difficult to leave him out of the team.
Yeah,
and he doesn't play a lot of. I guess he could play down the middle, but when I watched him, he looked a raw, out-and-out winger.
Yeah.
And if you're paying 85 million for him, look, I'm not doing that whole, what happens to everyone else? Because, you are going to have, you are going to have lots of competitions. You are going to have to rotate, and that's fine. And I love that there's that unpredictability, and that's what I wanted Arsenal to have. But as it's not gone that way, and you look at the ways it can negatively impact the squad or the side, maybe Martinelli, maybe that would have been a problem. I don't know. I don't think Martinelli. I think Martinelli's got a better mentality than that. I think Martinelli would have been like, cool, let's fight for my spot, whether it's right, middle, left, whatever, and we alternate, and that's fine.
It would frustrate a player though, James. I'll be honest. If you're a player at a club and someone's signed for that price tag and you're on good form, Martinelli's been superb. I know as a player, if I was in issues, I'd be thinking, really, but it didn't happen, listen, we got what we got now. And
Trossard's versatility means that there isn't a natural person in that team that you go, he's in trouble. Whereas I think with Mudryk, it felt like if Martinelli weren't at his best, we'd very quickly see Mudryk getting game time.
If Mudryk was,
I don't think he's as. I mean, I've got no reason to think Mudryk's better than Martinelli. Just the price tag,
of course. If Mudryk wasn't good, sorry, I know we're moving away from Trossard. If Mudryk wasn't playing well, from what you see of Arteta, him not wanting to play Pepe, he made a decision. Agreed, it wasn't his player. But do you think you'd have seen that with Mikel Arteta with Mudryk if he wasn't playing well?
Nah, he'd have persisted with him. He's his player. He signed him. Okay. He'd have believed in him.
I was going to say the same. I just didn't know if you were.
Him a lot of minutes, but I don't think I've explained myself very well on this. Martinelli, I think, has got an elite mentality, and I don't think any competition you would have seen as a bad thing. I just think that there was much more. Mudryk's much more clearly a left winger who would compete for that spot with him. Yeah. And whether everyone talks about it's a big squad and and there's loads of games and there's loads of competitions, sure, but there's only ever one FA Cup final or North London derby or Europa League final, whatever. So when it comes down to that very match, who do you play? Now that's a great problem for us to have. I just don't know if it's always a great problem for the play. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm just asking questions.
No, it's fair. This is what this is for.
Trossard feels like someone who could break into this team, but I think they're going to be patient. I don't think Nketiah's been brilliant. Saka and Martinelli are doing their thing, and I think Trossard will have to earn it.
And I think that's fair. £27 million. It's not like we overspent on him. I think
I'd love to know what the comments think.
You have to build yourself into this side. We're top of the Premier League. You don't get signed in January and walk straight into a side when you're top of the league. This formula Arteta's got with the team is winning. I'm going to read out the super chats while James checks some comments. Yeah. Make sure you get the comments. I'll go for the super chats. Loads of you got involved in this. Thank you, and thank you for joining us for this hour on Trossard at Arsenal. It feels good. And you know what? I love that we did it so soon.
So quick.
Do you know what I mean? Because so Chelsea can't get him. Right, so here we go.
Let me just do to the camera.
Fuck Chelsea.
Oh, great.
They pissed me off so much. Sorry, I shouldn't swear.
Well, they've just signed another winger, you know.
Huh?
Noni Madueke to Chelsea, 35 million euros.
PSV.
Signed a long-term deal in a few days. Strongly wanted by the Chelsea board. Did Graham Potter want any of these players?
Probably not.
But he looks very talented.
PSV.
Sterling, Mudryk, Madueke. They've also got João Felix. They got Nkunku arriving in the summer.
They got loads of players. Todd Bowley's just doing a madness. Let me go into the super chats. Red Smoke says, "Hi guys, big shout out to AFTV boys. Getting Trossard is like receiving a Lynx gift set for Christmas. Not ideally what you wanted, but a good signing. Give us depth within the squad." Now it's harsh because I have trust in Arteta, but there was times where I saw the price tag for Ramsdale. I saw Ben White come in at 50 million, and I would have been in that same sort of mindset. Is it what we really wanted? No. Look how superb they've been. And Trossard, I think, will add to that. I trust in the board. I trust in Edu. I trust in Mikel Arteta. It was frustrating that we lost out. I'll keep talking about Mudryk, but it was frustrating. But I believe that Trossard was the right selection. At first, I thought they were panicking with. Once we lost Mudryk, I thought they were like, they'll do a scatter and just spend whatever on anyone.
So is this a panic, do you think? Do you think we're just getting giddy because it's a new signing? But do you think this is a bit of a panic? Some people, sorry, Olu Watosin agrees with me that Trossard gives him Cazorla vibes. Yeah, thank you. I'm glad I wasn't the only one.
There is a super chat in here somewhere that kind of goes with you as well. It's quite
interesting.
Quite a funny one
as well. But you know, we've got to explore that side. Is there a bit of a panic in this?
There's definitely a urgency.
Yes,
because we need depth. Yeah, we need players. We have we have a run coming up, and we have United on the weekend. But we also have many games to sustain this top of the Premier League. There's an air of urgency. A panic. I think in the past I would have said yes. Now I think it'd been looked at properly. I believe Arsenal wanted to go in with 20 million. they got him for 27. I think I heard Brighton wanted around that price. For me, am I massively bothered? No, James. It's not hyper. We're not overpaying. It doesn't disrupt anything, in my opinion. I don't think he's going to be a complete flop. Trossard is a good player. He's not right for Brighton right now. They fell out of the manager. They want to get rid of him. It's January window. Arsenal notorious for not doing great business in the window. Yes, there's been some players that have been key, but I don't think it's a panic. I think it's an era of urgency, and it's good business from Arsenal. I like Matoma. He is very new at Brighton, but I would have loved Matoma, what I've seen of him. But Trossard feels just as good. Listen, it's very new for me to say I love Mitoma. But I think he's electric. But Trossard has that. I've seen brilliance from Trossard. I don't think he, like I said, come back from the World Cup so great. But under Mikel Arteta, players just...
Well, it's only the third forward Arteta signed. I guess, okay, Marquinhos is a younger player for the future, but in terms of real investment, Gabi Jesus and Odegaard, again, Willian was a free. So in terms of putting real money behind, okay, maybe the contract for Willian, people would say differently in that sense. But I guess what I'm trying to say is he's tended to have worked for Arteta whenever he's spent big on a signing, and 27 million is not nothing. I know it feels like a bit of a steal in this market with what players go for, but you know, it's a pretty significant investment, really. And I think it made sense for Arsenal to recognise that they spent a lot of time and effort in the Mudryk deal. I think if I were to make like a tier list of how I want the Arsenal board, recruitment team, hierarchy, whoever, if I had a list of what I'd want them to do and how I'd want them to do it in the window, then the first thing I'd want is, you know, find your top target and get them. Yeah. And then the second thing would be find your top target, do everything you can to get them, and if you can't, be ready with your alternative. And then below that, it's everything from being unprepared to just, you know, finding bargains to loan deals, whatever. Yeah. They've done the second best thing, which is they did try and bring in Mudryk. They couldn't. And they very quickly, you know, addressed it by bringing someone else in. Now, Trossard, it's so funny, right? Because here we are, we're talking about, let's use Mudryk as a comparison. Now, right now, I think there's a sense of people maybe slightly underwhelmed a little bit because of what we tried to do to what we've ended up doing. But if you go back to the summer, and by the way, I'm not trying to rewrite history, but let me land here. If you go back to the summer and you said to me, Trossard or Mudryk, Trossard every day of the week, please. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know a lot about Mudryk, please. Now, since then, you watch a lot of videos, you follow Mudryk more closely, whatever, and you go, wow, he looks really special. So when it gets to this January, if all things are equal, you're going, Mudryk. He looks the one with immense potential, future, all that. But it's not that long ago that I think most people would have said Trossard. And it just shows how quickly reputation of players can come and go. Trossard ends up having an unbelievable start to the season. It's gone a little bit off since the World Cup, and we know that he's had his issues, and we'll discuss that in a sec. But, you know, I just think people who are feeling underwhelmed just don't. You know, I understand the disappointment of not getting our first target, but he's a very, very talented player.
What does a sensible head choose? A player that's Premier League proven? Or a young starlet?
Just depends how good you think that young player can become. You know, like when I said rewrite history, I'm not going to pretend I didn't want Mudryk. I really did. He was exactly the kind of winger I wanted to add to our squad, even if it did mean ruffling a few feathers with the wingers that are already there. I wanted to do that, but okay, we couldn't. So I think Trossard is a more than adequate backup, and I think even that's putting it harshly.
It's interesting because it's not. I don't think it's a panic buy, but is it a stopgap sign in the sense that no,
because he can play so many positions.
Right,
Firmino's 32 playing as a false nine, I think, for Liverpool.
I was going to say he's 28 years old, but I suppose interesting. That's what I'm saying. Obviously, he's 28 years old. He's got 7 goals this season. Trossard, I believe 2 assists, 7 goals in the league. But yeah, like I mentioned there, a sensible brain, me maybe pulling away, might say he's Premier League proven. Trossard's been good. He's caused big teams a lot of problems. It's a good signing. But obviously, Mudryk being a link to Arsenal at the time, and obviously lost out to Chelsea with him. Like you said, I'll be honest, I didn't do loads of research on Mudryk. I'll keep it 100 because so many people were talking about him, and I saw a lot from other people, but I never really delved deep into it. I've watched Trossard, so I know about the player. I know he's a good player. I think it's a good signing, but yeah, I just wanted to put that in there. As a sensible brain would say, listen, look, guys, he's done it in the Premier League. He will fit in with Arsenal. He's versatile. He's Arteta's sort of profile, apart from obviously the dispute he had with his manager. But I believe Arteta, he will know coming to this side that can't run here. And I think he's put that into this team. We should go to the super chats.
Take some super
Just going to take some super chats and we're going to get back to the comments as well.
I want to explore that whole how it ended with Brighton thing a little bit.
Let's go into it. Let me go into super chats. Don Robbie Death's there. Big up. Thank you for the super chat. Says, nah, this is a good signing. He has some confidence about him that I enjoy watching. He's 28 until he's 29. That's facts.
Sorry, Messi scored against PSG already.
No way. Yeah. No, not against PSG, against Al Nassr.
Sorry, yeah, against Al Nassr for PSG. And by the way, that comment's jokes. Read it out again.
It was a good one. That. Don Robbie Deaths there says, nah, this is a good signing. He has some confidence about him that I enjoy watching. He's 28 until he's 29, and that's facts.
Even Jamie Carragher tweeted that.
Rizwan Khan with a super chat. Big up Rizwan. I always see him as well in the comments. Hunting down the Premier League title, Cecil. Absolutely brilliant signing. We've covered a key area with versatile proven player, good price too. Now we have to get into other signings at some point as well. We have to have a full conversation about that. Dave Jordan, Cecil, when's the Belgian folk dance announced video? I slapped the table. What you guys don't know here at AFTV, we was going to sign Mudryk. You knew that. Ukrainian. If you knew what this company had me doing behind the scenes. I don't even
know. I actually don't know.
I was learning Ukrainian folk dance. We had such a good welcome video planned, but that's the past. The Trossard Belgium folk dance may be coming in the announcement video and the welcome video, so look out for it. But yes, Dave, you wouldn't believe it. I've gone through multiple countries and nations and their folk dances, and the company want to see me do it. We will see. But look out for the video. Sayat10 says, do you guys think Trossard can be played as a cam? James, that's more you.
Things we don't play with a 10. So
can you play?
I'm slightly ruining what I'm going to talk about in the In Focus video, but let me put it this way.
Go on.
Seeing that game against Newcastle where we were finding he's gone from he who can't be named under that's Jordan's thing on Forever Arsenal to Xhaka to the Xhaka. In that Newcastle game when Zinchenko kept throwing the ball into Xhaka and he was getting the ball on the half term and running at their back four.
Yep.
Now that position, I think when we really need a goal, that is a position Trossard could play for us. Okay. Getting that ball, because almost the central midfielders, Odegaard and Xhaka, they push right up into the front five.
Yep.
With Saka, Martinelli wide, your striker, whether it be Nketiah or Jesus down the middle, and then those pockets. I think Trossard could get the ball in those pockets and run at goal. Smith Rowe could do it too.
Yep.
But I think off the bench, you need a goal. Yeah, I think you don't have to take Martinelli or one of the front three off for Trossard to come on.
Does it strike fear in opponents if he's coming off the bench? If you're playing Arsenal and you see Martinelli working his nuts off and he falls tired and you see Trossard, stretching, about to come on, does that, if you're an opponent, you think, and then think of a defender, actually, think you're a defender, you're thinking, it's going to be a long evening. You've just had Martinelli run at you relentlessly. Trossard, maybe not that intensity, but still very dangerous. Would you fear that?
I don't think you're a fullback going, he's going to destroy me here. But I think he's a headache. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's superb in combinations, 1-2s, tight spaces.
Yeah,
he's left and right-footed. Predominantly right, but his left foot's wicked. Have you seen some of the goals he scored?
I watched the same thing you did. I watched some of the highlights.
Unreal goals.
Sky just put out yesterday his best goals.
Unreal left-footed goals. He's unpredictable. That goal at Tottenham last year, where we were at Southampton, we thought that was our chance, and we ended up losing that. But when it came into him, and it looked like he was going to go with his right foot, and he just sort of like shimmied back inside, put it back onto his right, and then toe poked it past Lloris. That was an unbelievable bit of skill and goal. He'll scare teams because of his unpredictability and how much he can do. And when you look at some of the goals he scored, even from distance, the way he strikes a ball with both feet.
Oh yeah, his striking is incredible.
I think absolutely he's not going to come on and make a Trent Alexander-Arnold think, oh my word, I'm really in for it here. But I think he's going to keep the opposition guessing in more ways than one.
Love that. Let me carry on with these super chats. Thank you everyone getting involved. It's big news. Trossard on the way to Arsenal. Let me carry on. Josh Reed with a super chat says, if it was a choice between Trossard now and Rice in the summer, or Mudryk now and Tielemans in the summer, I'd take the former all day long. And if I'm honest, so would I. I've never really been a fan of this Tielemans deal.
So Trossard now and Rice in the summer,
or Mudryk now, but Tielemans in the. I know you're gonna go with the latter. I know you will, because I'm not a fan of this Tielemans thing. I'm so tired of it. I was tired of it at the time. Didn't see in it, but I know James is a fan of Tielemans, and Mudryk did affect him.
If I'm honest, I think both are great. That's a tough one.
That's a great super chat, Joshua.
It's a great question.
Thank you very much. That is
I don't know.
Very kind of you.
I think if you asked me 2 weeks ago, I can't lie. I think I would have said Mudryk and Tielemans, but it's not happening. So the first one is definitely the best option.
To save yourself for content reasons, no, definitely the first one. JR with super chat says he plays across the front. He is prem proven and goes straight into the team. Mudryk costs more without knowing if he can do it. Good business.
I hear that.
He scores in big games and is a fearless player. JR, there you go. That's it. To me, that's a sensible brain. If you look at it, I think we get caught up in, not in hype, but just, a link with Arsenal. You go and watch the videos. Mudryk is making a lot of noise. But if you look at it as Trossard's done it against the big teams, Premier League proven, and the price, you'd be happy with it. A lot of fans, when I speak to them, they also about how well Arsenal done business recently. This is good business in my opinion. And yes, 27 million is still a lot, but it's a good price tag considering 88 million. It now opens us up to me as a fan. Arsenal, I want just a little bit more. We still got time, a little bit more. Maybe I think it's fair.
I think it was Miguel Delaney who said that Arsenal were in the market for 2. This was after the Mudryk stuff.
Yep.
Arteta repeatedly said the squad is short. That doesn't equal, but one player fixes it all.
Yeah, maximise every window doesn't equal one player.
The squad is short. You showed your hand with what you're willing to pay, and you did some smart business by getting in a forward that is, Premier League proven, and everything we just said. That's great about Trossard. So there's a little bit more to play with there.
Yeah,
let's go for it. Let's absolutely go for it. I'm still on the Tielemans thing. I might be in the minority. I still am.
Not me, boy.
My argument on Forever Arsenal was the drop from Partey to El Neni isn't as big as the drop from Xhaka to Lokonga.
That's a good point.
So I would get a player who can play as an 8, can play as a box-to-box or some sort of creator in a midfield 3. And then I think, hoping Partey stays fit, if not, you can solve that with El Neni, Lokonga, Xhaka, White. They're not but at least it's not perfect.
Yeah.
But at least I can see how it doesn't disrupt Arsenal massively to look to those other options. Whereas I feel like if we lose what Xhaka's bringing to the team, we don't have adequate experience backup, I think that could be a problem because it's so key to the way it links with Zinchenko and everything. And yeah, I don't know. I would go for another 8.
This is obviously a community show. It's a live. You guys get involved. Just let me know while I read the rest of these super chats out. Do you want, as a fan, another signing this January window? Is it fair for us to still demand another signing because in the price we paid for Trossard? Where are you guys and girls sitting?
Charles
right now?
says, it would be Smith Rowe, the next to Xhaka, and yeah, sure, maybe we've seen him try it. Arteta, it didn't work last season, but this season, much better teams. Zinchenko behind, yeah, it might. To be fair,
140 Glasgow with a super chat. Thank you for this one, Alexis Trosanchez. That was what I thought was quite funny. It's in line with what you said, a little bit of Cazorla. Josh Miller of a super chat says Trossard has more goals than Saka this year, my dudes. Saka is obviously the better player, but this guy can finish efficiently off the bench. Ooh. Thank you, Josh. That was I didn't actually 7 goals. Oh yeah, fair. Shref with a super chat says, James, direct to you. Could we have got someone better than Trossard? Be honest, I'm not sure about him. He ain't a top athlete or skills. So what makes him a standout?
So can you read that last sentence again?
I'm gonna read it all for you. James, could we have got someone better than Trossard? Being honest, I'm not sure about him. He ain't a top athlete or skills. So what makes him a standout?
I think his skill will surprise you. I think he's far more skillful. Whether he's a top athlete, I guess you're talking about his pace and power and ability to get past players. I think that will surprise people as well.
Close control is a great
But in terms
skill.
of his ability on the ball, proper striker of a ball, really good in tight spaces. I'm just going over everything I said before. So, but then the original question, could we have done better? Maybe. I mean, maybe. Let's put it this way. We tried to get Rafinha in the summer. Then we hear our priority was Pedro Neto. Then we spend all this time targeting Mudryk. Let's not pretend that Trossard was always the plan.
Yeah.
He wasn't always the plan. But, and I said this on the live yesterday with Robbie, I don't want Arsenal to operate in a way where there's one, maybe two perfect players and that's it. If not, well, we can't do anything about it. Not our fault. No. As a recruitment team, as coaching staff, you have a responsibility to be more flexible than that. So if you can get the guy who's 85% right rather than 98% right, then how are you going to make it work? Because we need bodies in there. Nketiah, Saka and Martinelli started away at Oxford United. So that's not right. That's not right. Yeah. They shouldn't be starting that game.
Yep.
Look at what Man United have done. They're on the up. Ten Hag's doing great stuff. They just lost Cristiano Ronaldo and replaced him with Wout Weghorst. But they're not complaining.
When you say it
because
like that.
They understand.
Quality.
Because they understand that he does a job, he gives them a different dynamic, he allows them to alternate, and they nearly won the game with him leading the line. A Premier League game, Palace, tough place to go. And so he might not be perfect, he might not be the absolute, the future, the right answer. They also wanted João Felix, but you've got to recognise that when needs must, you just got to get bodies in. And Trossard, by the way, it's not just a body. He's not just getting a body in. Far from it. But at the same time, for those who are sceptical, I do think you've got to try and look at this with a more positive light, which is at least they're doing what they can to try and help the squad. And I think Trossard will get into a position where we're debating whether he should be starting games.
Definitely. Silverback G, just with a comment 21, says, can we also get Mitoma? I love him so much as well. It'd been great. But listen, it's interesting. Also, it's interesting that Arsenal are sticking with, short forwards. Like, might be some fans that thinking, what happened? We need height. We need
low centre of gravity type.
And I love that from Arsenal. I like the Mikel Arteta sticking with that. But there'll be some fans saying we want something different, some more physical, like a Weghorst, but obviously not a Weghorst, he's at United, but that sort of different, a different way to attack when it comes to height, aerially, physicality. But I think Trossard, he's a good signing. I'm going to continue carrying on with it. There's so many flying in. Don't worry, the super chats are coming. Someone said he didn't read mine. They're coming. Young Gunner says, the more I watch Forever Arsenal pod, the more I wonder what will happen first. Jordan saying Xhaka's name of Spurs, or Spurs winning the trophy. Big up, lads, and big up Forever Arsenal. Make sure you guys check it out.
He's really holding out.
He really is. I watched him today do a combined 11. I'm giving you a little in here. You're going to see that come out very soon on the channel. And he wouldn't say it then. And that was news to me. I didn't know
that is true.
I didn't know he didn't say it like that. So interesting. But yeah, he's not a fan to say. He's a fan of him now, but won't say his name. I believe, is that all the super chats from that side? It is. I'm just going to flick over to this phone now. Big up everyone getting involved. Here we go. Another super chat says, SMS can play 8 and 6. 1 year contract left on his 1 year left on his contract. Who's SMS?
Sergej Milinkovic-Savic. Is that who it is?
That was very good of you.
I'm guessing.
I'm guessing it is. Yeah, it's an 8 or 6. Yeah. Turkish is a big fan of him. But that's someone we can look at.
Could be.
Someone we can look at.
Could be an option.
Keenan with a super chat says, get Tielemans in now. Perfect competition for Xhaka and can cover both 8 and 6. In a pinch. I think he's on the pitch. Also have a great chemistry with Trossard in the Belgium team.
Who does, sorry?
Who does?
Say that. Can you read that one more time?
Tielemans and Trossard, of course.
Oh, right.
Yeah, Tielemans in now. Yeah, of course. But also a good little link up. Green lines. Ben White and Trossard, hold tight X, Brighton, little few green lines there. Kwame says with super chat, I think it's a terrific signing. Brighton players improve the Premier League, any Premier League team. Yeah, Brighton are doing this. It's a good way to look at it.
Like, Brighton are a fantastic team. There's way too much snobbery, the word, sometimes, when fans talk about other clubs and other players. And
the aloof mentality that we have.
When we beat Brighton 4-2, it was... Yeah, well, of course you did. Brighton and all that.
They gave it to
Brighton, right? It played well, but you should be. And then they smashed Liverpool. Smash them.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely deserved it. 3-0 didn't flatter them. And I think, we need to start recognising that clubs, their scouting departments, their recruitment teams, coaches are so impressive. They're so impressive. Unai Emery and Julian Lopetegui are the managers of Aston Villa and Wolves.
Yep.
Like, do you know the competition that's in this league? And the money that's in it as well. And, you're going to pick up really good players at clubs that are in 6th, 7th, and 8th place as well, even lower. So, yeah, Trossard. Tom Canton on Gooner Talk, he tweeted, it reminds him of when Liverpool signed Shaqiri, and I think that is the perfect example. I think Trossard's shown more personally, but it's a great example of how Shaqiri did a massive job, and it might have seemed like an underwhelming signing at the time, but Shaqiri played a massive part in that Liverpool team that won big trophies.
100%, good player. Peter Baker with a super chat says, if we signed him before the deadline for United game, would you bench him or perhaps start him, knowing his fluidity and it could possibly throw United off for what they are training for?
No, because the plan, I hear you about throwing United off, but the plan wouldn't change. I mean, whoever he comes in for, the game plan would be the same. Arteta's not in training going, everything I've just taught you for this game, forget it. Because Leandro's in. So we've got to mix it up. But no, I'm joking. But you get my point. Like, the game plan will be the same. Eddie, Saka, Martinelli doing brilliantly. You let them go.
Yeah, Trossard has to fit into that now. It's not the other way around.
Right.
Declan Hayes with a super chat says, let's say 80 million was the forecast budget. A, what would you guys do with what's left? B, what would you think will actually happen? So A, what would you do if the 80 million was the forecast budget, and what do you think will actually happen?
Let's round up to 30, so call it 50 million left.
It's difficult, isn't it?
I think Arsenal would have to get...
I still want a striker, sorry.
I think Arsenal would have to be ruthless in that midfield role. Douglas Luiz signed a new deal with Aston Villa, but we know in football that means very little. Now, if Arteta likes him, and he'd have known him from Man City, I don't think Douglas Luiz played for City when Arteta was there, but was on their books, went on a few loans. I think we'll know a lot about the player. And they might think, okay, well, we tried to get him for 25. He signed a new deal, but maybe 40 million we might get him. I don't know. We saw that goal Douglas Luiz scored at Tottenham for Villa the other day, running into the box. Serious box-to-box run and finish. Can play as a 6 as well. Can cover for Partey. If that's the guy you want, maybe test Villa's resolve. Maybe go in for, I mentioned Tielemans, but who else is there? Ruben Neves. I don't know. Yeah. I think they would have to go and try and address that central midfield area. I know we've been linked with that Fresneda as well, the young right back. I just don't think right back's a priority. I understand if Cedric leaves, then you might feel you want to do something there, but I really think you go for a midfielder, and if you have to spend 40 to 50 million, do it. And I know there's a future for this Arsenal team. It's not like this is the only year we can possibly win the Premier League, but let's also not pretend it's not a massive opportunity. So just try and give the squad the help they need. Yeah,
I feel like we didn't even say what we actually think is going to happen. Do you think, you don't have to give a name, but do you think Arsenal are going to get another signing before the end of the window?
After Mudryk, I didn't think we'd get anyone. Really, I thought, wow, that's it.
So that's PTSD. That's PTSD.
Arsenal has shown that while they have backups, they don't always necessarily compromise this much.
You have to give him a name, but do you believe they're still going to be in the window, in the market for another player?
Oh, I 100% think they would be trying to sign another one. Okay. Will they?
No, we're not going to know that though. But as long as you believe,
it's a gut feeling. Will I? Will I? Will I? Will I?
Let me just ring Eddie and not Eddie. Sorry, Edu and the conference again.
Eddie and Ketia doing the transfers. Yes, they'll do one more.
Okay, I think. I hope so. I very much hope so. I was going to bring something else. Oh yeah, quickly. So I believe Declan Rice will arrive at Arsenal. I don't think I believe in this January window with that 50 million left. I think he will arrive in the summer. So I would say, for me personally, is a risk, but I do want to see a striker come in.
Wow, so you want another forward?
Yeah.
So Jesus and Ketia, Saka, Martinelli, Trossard, Smith Rowe, and a striker.
Wouldn't mind, an alternative striker.
I guess Smith Rowe can play in midfield.
Yeah.
So.
I think it is a risk, it is, but I just believe Declan Rice will be here in the summer. If he's not going to come in January, which is looking unlikely, so go for me another option up front.
If Rice in the summer is the genuine target, then I want an 8 more.
Okay.
See what I mean?
Yeah,
because we've got Rice coming, so why get a 6?
I'm with you. Okay, let me go back to Super Chats because we're flying through. Devon Carr says, why is Jude not on the table for us in the summer? I hear that. I would love Musiala. I spoke about it.
I've got an answer for that.
But it's not going to happen. Go on, talk to them.
On Jude Bellingham. I actually think if everything started as of today, or let's say this summer coming, and I think you've got to hoping and talking and with an assumption that Arsenal actually make it into the Champions League and all that, and of course we're going for the title, and you get my point. I think Bellingham would be extremely interested in Arsenal. I think Arsenal would have a good chance of landing a Jude Bellingham this summer if everything started from this summer. I think the reason that we're not being linked with him, or that we wouldn't really pursue a Jude Bellingham and all that, is because I just think a player like him, there'll have been talks for a long time with multiple clubs. Dortmund prepare for the idea of a Haaland leaving, of big players moving on and them having to replace them and look to the future. And Bellingham will be, I think, months down the line in negotiation with other clubs. For Arsenal to come in now and go, we're good as well now.
But why can't we do the Chelsea? Why can't we just put in a load of money and just say?
Because it would take something extraordinary. Chelsea had to come and pay, a mad figure that we were willing to pay after a lot of negotiation and back and forth, and we nearly got there, but we didn't quite get to the splitting of the payments that Shakhtar wanted. Chelsea just decided, Pulisic got injured, did he? Yeah, all right. Felix, our new signing's got a 3-match ban. No time to waste. Mudryk, please. And they operate differently, Chelsea. I don't really like it or respect it, but they move differently.
Okay, fair. Let me go back. They are flying in these comments as well, by the way. Let's go into. So Robert Stevens says, do you think now we've signed Trossard, we could move Martinelli through the middle? Makes perfect sense to me. A lot of fans are on this. Put Martinelli up front, through the middle, down. Play the number 9. It's never been. I'll be honest. You won't hear me talk about it because I'm not really with that. I
think Trossard's as much a third striker for our squad as he is a second winger. To Martinelli, it's because
very good way to look at it.
His attributes very much fit a false 9 who stitches things together, who gets goals, who is clever and quick in between the lines and all that. And Martinelli is so brilliant at taking players one-on-one that I think you only take Martinelli away from that left wing if you're forced to, and then you look at either Trossard or Smith Rowe.
Yeah.
And Nelson's still to come back. Nelson looked good, to be fair. I think Nelson would get Europa League minutes. So.
There is a super chat somewhere on Nelson. I believe I screenshot it somewhere. We'll get into that. Siddharth with a super chat says, Arsenal should buy versatile players for game management. Trossard is such an amazing buy. We have Reece, Emil, Jesus to return. Liverpool got Mane like this. That's how Liverpool got Mane like this. Okay, so just versatility-wise, it is a good signing for Siddharth there. I think you're right. I think a lot of our players are versatile. Once the players return, that is also it's also going to be a good look for Arsenal. We're in a very, very strong position. We needed it. We needed this signing. We needed more depth in other positions, especially when we're going for a title charge. Bilal, sorry if I got that wrong. Says with super chat, I can watch to any Cecil content 24/7. He's a gem. Thanks. That's very kind of you.
Well, at least there's one of them.
Yeah. Do you know what I was about to say as well? If we don't win the league, make sure you're there for me when everyone comes to me for wearing that t-shirt at Christmas. But yeah, big up.
Finished. Finito.
Thank you, Bill. That was very kind of you. Big up. Caesar with a super chat says, any dressing room concerns with Trossard? We have to talk about the manager.
Okay, so should we go into all that?
Let's delve into it. There's so much more to come when it comes to
I've found that it's going to be a longer show than the
it's going to be longer than an hour, so stay with us, people. There's a lot to discuss and depict and get through. Manager.
Okay, so...
Problems. Discipline.
Let me just read this Sky Sports report, okay? Brighton boss, Roberto De Zerbi, first confirmed Trossard would not be in the Albion squad for Liverpool's visit last week after exhibiting a poor attitude in training. This is from Sky Sports.
Early.
The 28-year-old has not played for the Seagulls since the 4-2 defeat to Premier League leaders Arsenal. Thanks for doing your bit in that, Leandro. And now
that was the moment. It's like, I need to be with them.
I need to be here. And now he says he will not sign a new deal with the club. A statement released by Trossard's agent, Josie Comer, has said, and I'm going to read the whole statement, bear with me. Before Leandro left for Qatar, it was Brighton's intention to extend his contract. This did not happen as parties did not reach an agreement. Leandro has also indicated he is ready for his next step. After the World Cup, there was an altercation at training between Leandro and another player over an inanity. What does inanity mean?
Let me Google it.
Google's inanity. Since then, the trainer has not spoken to Leandro, which is obviously not conducive to the atmosphere as well as performance-wise.
A nonsensical remark or action.
Okay. Leandro was a first 11 player against Southampton and Arsenal, but against Everton he was on the bench. In the 5 substitutions that took place then, he was also not among them, and this is without any explanation. In the run to the match against Middlesbrough in the FA Cup, Leandro had also reported calf problems twice. This was the reason he stopped training. This was in consultation with the medical staff. Through the physical trainer, Leandro learned that he had to train separately. Last Monday, the trainer then grounded Leandro in the group and indicated that he did not want to see him anymore. A trainer who has not communicated directly with this player for 4 weeks is truly incomprehensible. It is also the trainer who has indicated several times that a transfer is the most reasonable solution. It is therefore important that Brighton cooperates with a potential transfer which is beneficial for both parties. There's a lot to digest in that. Okay.
Did he not walk out of training and leave? I'm sure that's what I read as well.
That was, I think, a rumour, or I don't know. So
let's go with the statement.
Let's go with some of the facts from the statement. Of course, this is his agent, so it's his agent's side of things. And from the Brighton side of things, we know that he didn't train. I think there was a rumour that he got a flight back to Belgium, I think. We know also that De Zerbi said that he wasn't going to be in the Liverpool game because of poor attitude. We also know he missed the Everton game, didn't come off the bench. Okay,
let's get into it.
Let me talk about the things that I think you can't really have much of an issue with. Before he went to Qatar, intention was to extend his contract. It didn't happen because they didn't reach an agreement, and Trossard said that he was ready for the next step. Nothing wrong with that. Players ambitious. Players got, he's honoured almost all his contract. They're getting late in the day, and he's saying, they couldn't come to terms that worked. Where else could we go? Fine. Nothing wrong with that.
That's fine.
The thing about something with a player in training, and that this whatever happened, the trainer has not spoken to Leandro, which is obviously not conducive to atmosphere as well as performance. Okay, whatever's gone on with a player in training, that can happen. I mean, we were watching All or Nothing, weren't we?
Bro,
and Lacazette got in something.
You're with players more than you see your family.
You've played
honestly,
for football clubs.
We got in punch-ups all the time, dressing rooms. You have fallouts. You have different groups within the team. Like it happens. That can be brought. That happens. It's life. Cool. Anyway, go on.
I don't worry about that whatsoever. Now, this is where I start taking a little bit of issue. And it's worth exploring this for the sake of balance on this show. Leandro was the first 11 player against Southampton and Arsenal, but against Everton he was on the bench. 5 subs were made, he wasn't used, and there was no explanation. Now I don't believe, and this is very similar to what Ronaldo said in his interview with Piers Morgan about some stuff as well. I don't believe the manager owes the player any explanation. Now if you don't see the pitch for a month, or maybe longer, and the manager's not talking to you, you want explanation. Yep. I get that. But not coming on off the bench for one game, I don't think the manager, in my opinion, but I don't know how it works at clubs, so you might be able to tell me better. Even though Trossard was clearly a key player for them at one point, he is probably going to be wondering, hold on, what's gone on?
Yep.
But I don't think the manager owes that explanation, especially when you've gone and won 4-1 at Everton. Yep. You're flying high, things are going great. So I'm not sure about that bit.
I mean, just quickly on that, nowadays, in today's society, in football, I'm going to sound like Turkish here. Players, if they're dropped, they want to know why. They want to go to the manager, or they want to know why. That, for me...
In their defence, it's probably a 5-minute conversation, which you can spare them.
It is, but from back in the day, and I was a footballer a long time ago, but even still, I wasn't allowed to do that. There was no way. If I was benched, I had to figure out why I was benched. I had to work my way back into the side. I remember...
Well, what if you said to the manager, nothing, I've got no issues. I just want to know for my own development, why I'm not in the team, what I can do better.
That was frowned upon
really?
in my day. I promise you, it was frowned upon. Even when you're on a contract and you're fighting to get a professional contract, when I was a scholarship boy, it was frowned upon to even go to the manager's door. You just wait to what they say. Like I remember. Sorry, just a quick story.
That's outrageous, really.
Listen to this one. I went on loan to Tottenham Mitcham first team after leaving Crawley Town. Well, I was still there, but I was signed with them. But I went on loan. It was a toxic place, Crawley, at the time. When I was at Tottenham Mitcham, I was scoring goals. I was on great form. I was loving life. Every time I went to training the next day, my manager wouldn't speak to me in the whole of the training session. I never understood why. No, at Crawley, back at Crawley. I never understood why at the time. I was young. I was naive. After I left and I spoke to my coach, Mark Beard, who took our sessions, he said, my youth team manager at the time, didn't like that I was doing so well for the loan team, but not doing well when I was at Crawley. So he wouldn't speak to me in training. I never knew. I always felt the cold shoulder from my manager, but that's what it was. Right. I had to figure it out, and if he didn't tell me that, I still wouldn't have known to this day. So, but nowadays, players want to know. That's Thierry tweets about all the time as well. In his interview, he says, "Listen, nowadays they want to know why they're dropped, what's wrong, how do they improve, things like that." So,
Okay.
But yeah, carry on. Sorry, tangent.
No, I think that's really interesting context. So in the run-up to the match against Middlesbrough FA Cup, Trossard spoke to them about the calf problems. That's what it says. The reason he stopped training. So obviously there was some rumours about why he didn't play. Some people said this, that, the other. The agent said that it was to do with calf problems. He consulted medical staff, and he then learnt from the physical trainer that he had to train separately. This is just he said, she said. Trossard said he has, I didn't train because of injuries. Then there's other rumours.
Yeah.
I can't really pass much opinion on it. Where are we then? Did a trainer, last Monday, a trainer grounded Leandro in the group and indicated that he did not want to see him anymore. Okay. And then obviously they've come to the conclusion that there needs to be a transfer. Okay, here's my kind of, I'm really interested to get Ryan's thoughts. Ryan, Brighton fan, does amazing content on YouTube. I'll make sure I get
Ryan.
The exact details so I can sort of make sure to tell you about him. But
he's the friend that told me that Trossard wasn't so good from when he come back from the
World
World Cup.
Okay, yeah.
Very informed.
Ryan's fantastic, and there's gonna be an in focus video, and we're gonna get Ryan's thoughts on that as well. But just from that and the bit I know from a distance, because I think Brighton fans understand the situation a lot better. My impression is a little bit of everyone knows where this situation was maybe going to end up, and has tried to force it along a little bit. In that, maybe Brighton knew there was an opportunity to cash in. Maybe his behaviour or the way he conducts himself wasn't perfect. I don't know. Maybe there's miscommunication. These things are very, they're complex, especially when there's so many layers and the agent's talking about all these different things. I think Arteta, having worked so hard to deal with the players that he didn't feel had the attitude to match what he wanted to achieve, after the Aubameyang stuff last January, has maybe felt, will have done his homework and will know whether this is, a risk he wants to take. And Trossard, from what I know, there was nothing concerning his attitude before this kind of way he left Brighton. Now, Aubameyang left Arsenal. Went, under a really negative kind of
dark shadow. Dark cloud. Sorry, not shadow.
Dark cloud. Went to Barcelona, killed it. Was applauded off the pitch by the new camp. Sometimes you just go somewhere else and you fit, and it fits and it works, no matter how it ended with the other club. And that can happen. Tuchel, I think, has described Aubameyang as a dream. Like, sometimes there's certain fits and certain environments that work better for certain players. So that's really all I can say on that. I've tried to speculate and just, try piece it together. It's difficult. I'm very looking forward to hearing what Ryan has to say about it all from Seagull Social, I believe. But yeah.
So do I. Turkish in the chat says, good signing. I like it. There we go. Happy Turkish. It continues. More smiles. Just another way to look at it. As a player, I think there was a falling out with the manager. If he did have a calf injury, that will come up in the fitness test when he signs at Arsenal. Be very interesting to see what comes of that. I don't know how late it is from that injury, but it will come up. And if he's fit straight in and he's playing well and he's playing with intensity, that's a bit more of a kick in the teeth for a manager that is saying you're basically you're forcing the move. It may not be in the injury. You might have just been wanting to keep yourself away or trying to get this over the line.
Minor calf problems a week ago might well have passed.
And so that can also be hard to detect as a physio. Like, I would probably go for the hamstring, because it's hard to detect as well. And you can be like, oh, it is sore, and you can get away with missing training and whatnot.
Let me tell you now,
that is a petty way.
How quickly this has happened? They're trying to get him in for Man United. 100%.
Do you genuinely believe that as well? Yeah.
Yeah. I think they're trying to get him in for Man United.
When is the next home game? Because it does make sense actually. A home appearance for Trossard, a nice welcome in at the fans, by the fans. When's our next home game? What is our next home game?
United or something?
I mean after that. How long is there? A bit of a wait. Yeah,
we've got City away.
Okay, so maybe you're right.
Yeah, no, but I mean, even nothing to do with the unveiling. I just think they'll say, okay, well, why waste time? Let's just get it done.
Does Emile Smith Rowe offer similar to what Trossard offers?
I think in the way they can both be pass and move and get the ball in those kind of pockets in between, not quite as a striker, not quite as a 10, not quite as a winger, in those kind of threatening areas in between fullback and centre back. Sure, but I think Trossard is more direct as a winger, and I think Smith Rowe is more
late arriving,
combination play, late arriving. Yeah. I'm yet to understand fully what Smith Rowe is.
Right, so it's not the same. That's why I have to push. That's why I wanted to push that question. I'll be interested to hear what you guys have to say. Trossard and Emil Smith Rowe.
Because he's so talented and can develop his game to be one of
superb.
You see what De Bruyne did the other day in the Manchester derby when he underlapped and then hooked it to the back post. I kind of think if Smith Rowe's crossing was on point, I could so see him, powering down and that underlap on, on the right channel, getting to the byline and either firing across goal or putting it to the back post. I absolutely could see Smith Rowe having the attributes to do that if his final delivery, is to prove good enough. But then, he had so much joy on the left last year, coming late in the box, combining with Odegaard as the 10, having Tierney overlap. So, it's going to be very interesting to see how Smith Rowe kind of comes back in. It
is. I'm going to return back to the super chats. There's a lot flying in. I keep mentioning it. Thank you everyone that's joined us. There's currently 13,000 votes in the Are You Happy with Trossard signing poll that we have in the chat. 93% say yes, 7% say no. I have been scouring the comments as well to see people's thoughts on why it wasn't be no or why they're so happy with the signing. When I go back to super chat, says, like I said, loads to get through. Diego with a super chat says, this is a sensible signing. He's so versatile and helps us to give a team a little push for the title. We need one more signing, especially in the midfield. Hello from Colorado, loving this snow. I mean, in Colorado, if it's snowing, I'm not going there. It's just as freezing over here in the UK right now.
It's very cold here
Baltic conditions right now, and I hate it. I was in Argentina.
Aaron says Patino is Xhaka's replacement, not Tielemans. Have you seen some of the Patino
I've seen the
highlights going around?
Oh, I've seen his highlights as well. He's balling out.
He looks
balling out.
He looks classy.
And in those leagues as well, where it's a little bit more physical. It's nice to see him. Yeah,
and
it's nice to see
holding his own. He looked quite slight when he played against Nottingham Forest in the FA Cup.
Very slight.
And he is absolutely enjoying himself. So
and Balogun as well when he returns, it will be nice. Still think he needs another loan, but Balogun's been doing very well. I know people have mentioned Pepe, but his art says Trossard is mad. Can't wait to see him in action. It's a nice feeling. Rizwan back with super chat says not a panic in regards to was it a panic buy, was it a panic signing or not. He says not a panic. There was an opportunity in the market and Arsenal took advantage. You wouldn't call Zinchenko a panic. The plan is bigger than one player. I like that. Okay, let me move back to this other phone now, full of other comments we've saved.
But it's not. It's very difficult because I am guilty of saying that I think the process kind of restarted with Arteta when that summer he brought in Ramsdale, White. He decided he was going to Odegaard. He was going to focus on the young players like Smith Rowe, Martinelli, Saka, and all that. I think that's when the process kind of relaunched. Yeah. And we got rid of Willian and some other players. But Arteta's no stranger to signing Willian, Mari, Cedric, players who are experienced and can do a job. Now it didn't work with Willian. It didn't work with.
You said Cedric and that.
Mari
as well.
I thought Mari was better than people gave him credit for.
We both were on
especially when we had the ball. He was good on the ball. But cool. All right. It didn't work with Mari. Cedric's. People like to laugh. People like to sort of chuck Cedric in.
I still get a lot of heat for that. But
Cedric's done fine for us. I mean, sure, you could probably pick out a couple really bad games he's had for us, but largely last year he was in the team when they were playing at their best on the run for top four because Tomiyasu got injured, and then when things went flat and collapsed, I don't think he was the reason things went bad. Cedric was good, never had a bad game, says Culture Neurons. I agree. So he's not a stranger to turning to a little bit of experience. He re-signed Aubameyang, he re-signed David Luiz for an extra year. So I do think Arteta likes that experience around him more than people think. There's this whole where he doesn't like big personalities and he wants younger players who listen to what he has to say. I don't think that's really true.
We're gonna have to delve into that sort of side of this signing as well towards the end of the show. Lil Lewis 1509 says, what does this mean for Nelson, Pepe and ESR?
Smith Rowe's fine. He can adapt into a few different roles. I'm not worried. He's still got a lot of development to do.
He'll be a big part of this season as well.
Nelson, I worry for. Now, Nelson will still get game time in this current season because we've still got 3 competitions.
Pepe,
we'll see after Man City.
You don't see returning?
Pepe's playing for a good move. And whether that's in Nice permanently or whatever, he's playing now at Nice. I think he's playing.
Yeah,
scored a couple the other day, I believe. And that's it.
Yeah, I think James kind of broke that down perfectly fine. Nelson, I do worry for Nelson. He's a good player. He's got abundance of ability, but he's been riddled with just bad luck. Truthfully, I didn't know when he went missing for a while at Arsenal. I didn't really know the reasons why. Then he had his injury when he came back after having a nice little run in the Arsenal side. Got an injury. It just seems like bad luck, bad timing, but still a good player. And Pepe, for me, I made up my mind with Pepe early on. Got a lot of heat for that as well, but I don't see him returning to this Arsenal side. I feel like we've gone to another level in this Arsenal, in this Mikel Arteta era here at Arsenal, and I think players are seeing that. I think many fans have identified it as well. I think you have to fit what Arteta is doing over at Arsenal, and I don't think Pepe has that. We're very direct, we're very efficient. We play to a style of play that's not really in Pepe's skill level, from my personal opinion. Sky Touch Photos of Suja says the days of the trad 9 are gone. Haaland has actually lost City more games this season. CR7 dragged United, and Liverpool won the Champions League without a 9. Arteta goes for fluid forwards.
Can I interrupt? Sorry. So Obi has just reminded me in the comments that Cedric gave away the penalty against Spurs last season. Very true. I know a lot of people felt that wasn't.
That wasn't a penalty though. Sorry.
I wouldn't blame Cedric, but I don't think it looked great either. And I could see why it was given. Let me just. This is from FA spokesperson. This has just come in the last hour.
ITK.
Regulation and discipline update. So Arsenal have been fined 40,000 for surrounding match official during the FA Cup tie against Oxford. Arsenal denied an allegation from the FA. The club had failed to ensure its players conducted themselves in an orderly fashion during the 34th minute, and the club also requested a hearing. An independent regulatory commission subsequently upheld the allegation and imposed the club's fine. Its written reasons for these decisions will be published in due course.
So we've challenged it. Love that from Arsenal. Love that.
So I want. I know people talk about agendas and all this. There might be a reason why they've done it. And while I've done my bit to call out the FA for, the way they haven't fined Richarlison and Newcastle players for surrounding refs and Man City players, and right, and I think there's a degree of consistency that's absolutely needed. I don't think they've displayed that, A, through their refereeing, B, through how they, do all this, fining of clubs after and all that. However, they said they're going to publish the reasons, and I think we should just wait and see what they say those reasons are, because let's just wait. But that's just an interesting update. And while I've got a very cynical approach to this fine,
it infuriates me, I'll be honest.
Let's wait and see what they say. Arsenal have challenged it and it's being upheld.
And good on Arsenal for challenging it. Very, very good, and not just paying it off, because we see it week in, week out from other teams, but no one's highlighting that. Big up Sky Touch, or Touche, for that super chat about the 9s. The era of the 9s, James, are gone. Agreed?
Well, you thought they were back. Lukaku, Ivan Toney, Erling Haaland. You thought it was back. No, that actually, Núñez coming into Liverpool, that clubs were moving away and back to more powerful, physical 9s who could do a bit of everything, complete forwards, if you like, less so false 9s. But the teams that have had success over the last 3, 4, 5 years in the Premier League, maybe longer, have had, probably was Diego Costa the last out-and-out, typical 9 that won the Premier League. Because even Aguero, right?
I was going to go to Aguero.
He's an out-and-out striker, but I mean, 100%. He's not a physical presence and all that. He's strong. He's low centre of gravity, good combination play, can drop into midfield, can pull wide. A lot of traits that a false 9 would have to a degree.
But Aguero, I think people will go to. But I hear what you're saying there. He's not a traditional big bully up front. But yeah, let me go to Shadi hates the Cecil. Where'd you get a jumper from? shop.aftv.co.uk.
Getting the link in the description.
Link in the description. I'm not on a strip on stream, but I've also got the t-shirt to match it. I'm not on a strip on stream. I'm just going to really love this top.
That is the t-shirt to match it. Absolutely. You got the navy and everything. It's nice. It is really nice.
Come on, you should know about my thing. Come on, fashionista of it. Anyway, back to the comments. Anger says, Angle with a super chat says, the skeptics don't watch football. Soon we will say the same thing about Trossard that we used to say about Holdinho. I'm sorry, he doesn't cost 50 million. Holdinho.
Yeah, but also...
That comparison is mental.
No, I don't want to be...
That's mental. Thank you for the super chat. Alan Knight with a super chat says, doesn't signing strikers like Vlahovic make us like City. Send Cross to Haaland and hope for the best. Don't think those will do what Jesus does. I like that super chat, actually. Saint Anthony with a super chat says, won't get Rice in the summer if they get a midfielder. Oh, that's if Arsenal get a midfielder. Young Gunner, Savic over Ty Lemons. I think Savic over Ty Lemons, Tielemans, obviously. I used to call him Ty Lemons. I love that name.
Hold on.
Oh.
53 seconds ago, Daily Mail.
Oh.
Hold on. Let me just read this first. Arsenal are interested in Bournemouth's Jadon Anthony, as Mikel Arteta looks to add more attacking options to his squad amid Leandro Trossard links. Anthony is out of contract. 23 is out of contract at Bournemouth. Winger is attracting interest from Arsenal. Okay.
He wants more attack. So do I. We're going for the league,
How
Miguel.
long ago was
Please,
this?
come on.
19th of January. Yeah.
Yeah, we love it. We love to see it. I'm going to carry on. The true OG, you read up on that. What about Rafael Leao in the summer? Oh, I like him. I do like him. In the summer, something to definitely look at. Someone that could be on the list for Arsenal. I like Leao. Abdullah with a super chat says, think Trossard is a smart move. Would have preferred him on loan, to be honest, to test him first. Still think we should call back Pepe to cover the right side. Have as many options as possible for the title push. I think a lot of these players, like we mentioned before, very versatile. They can play in those positions as well. Trossard is heavily both-footed. We don't need to worry too much. As much as I think, I don't know why we target the left side so much when we only don't have too much cover for Bukayo Saka. I think with the bodies of Trossard, you've got Emile Smith-Rowe. I know he won't play on the right, but you also have Fabio Vieira that could Marquinhos. It is something to look at. St. Anthony says, James, watch Rice shine in Xhaka's role next year.
Maybe. It doesn't feel natural to me, but maybe. But then it didn't feel natural that Xhaka would be that box-to-box player that he's playing.
Ben White playing right back. I didn't expect that to be. He'd be like, take it to duck like takes to water. He's been superb there as well. Andrew Burford says, be happy with a super chat. It's a great squad player. We need it. We're happy, bro. Yeah. We're happy. I think most of the majority of people I spoke with, we saw Turkish comment earlier. He likes it. I know Robbie will be happy because he can talk about it on Transfer Daily for the next week. No, he'll be happy with Trossard as well. And us here are happy. We need players, especially in the position that we're in right now. St. Anthony again, back with a super chat. Thank you so much. I can see the headlines now about Arteta being the man that moved him further forward and now flourishing with more goals and assists. I don't know who that is about. I believe is that Trossard or is that with... Oh no, he's talking about Rice there. I agree. Jonathan James, Trossard is a great signing, fair price, Premier League experience, very versatile, same goals and assists as Martinelli this season for 2 fewer appearances.
He's very talented.
St. Anthony says Rice would cover both 6 and 8, better squad unity. Apologies, I don't know why I struggled to get that one out. Wave Spiz a boy with a super chat. So many. I'm thrilled that Trossard signing. We need the impact signing in order for us to be in a title race and cup competitions. Also, Arsenal should take a look at Mexican striker Santiago Gimenez. He's in the Dutch league. I'll have a look at that. Name says sounds to me he felt unloved. Mikel is the opposite. He's saying that Trossard felt unloved probably at Brighton, but he'll get the love here over at Arsenal. Yan, thank you for the super chat. And then there's one that's kind of popped in here in the chat so far. I'm just going to read it out for you guys. Just a comment from Turkish saying he's going to go live on his channel after the City Spurs game to give his thoughts. So I imagine I'll be on Trossard and everything after that game. So do make sure to check out Turkish London's channel. Well, James, will you be doing a little video on it? No. Oh. Oh, I kind of set you up there to do. Sorry, I'll give you. You do a little. No, a lot of reaction to some of the signings in the week. No, but a lot of the Arsenal stuff I do on my channel is shorter, bite-sized versions of what I've done here on AFTV. So, so you might see. So I don't want to send people to go and rewatch content they've already seen before. But of course, if you do follow my channel, or you've caught only a little bit of this, I will try and upload just my kind of thoughts chopped out with all the Cecil stuff out of it. And
I'm kidding. But on the channel, but yeah, it's pretty
Love
much
that. Miles Smith, last couple with a super chat, says Trossard has become a fringe player. Arsenal are top of the league because of the fringe players we have brought in. I like that. London _ Nomad says hopefully a midfielder will be signed. How do you feel about defensive depth? Using Gabriel for every match will surely make him tired. And that is the last.
But I mean, okay. So we play a back four. So at right back, if we go from right back to left back, Cedric, Tomiyasu, White, Saliba, Holding, Gabriel, Zinchenko, Tierney. That's 8 players. That's 8 for 4 positions. You can figure that out.
Yeah.
And if it gets really desperate, you can drop El Neni and Saka's played left back. You can figure something out.
Definitely.
I don't think we need to be panicking.
Definitely. Pradep was suggested, I believe Trossard will bring aggression and passion. He is a very passionate player, very aggressive when it comes to the attack. I'm looking forward to seeing him in the Arsenal shirt. Hakan says, y'all missed my super chat a while ago.
I just want to say thank you, Anderson, by the way. He said he subscribed to my channel, so I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Big up everyone. They've got their channels, Turkish, James.
I uploaded a video today telling Tottenham not to hire Thomas Tuchel. Because sometimes I've got to be... I try not to take a biased approach on that channel, and I just think they can't be hiring another former Chelsea manager. But of course, Conte's still there, so we'll see.
Hakan, apologies if I did miss your super chat. I believe I've read most of them out. AR says, instead of bringing back Pepe, why not Elise at right wing? I still want to see more of Elise. Great free kick.
What a free kick.
What a free kick.
What a free kick.
I was jumping for joy like I was a Palace fan. It was unbelievable. Jonathan James, back with super chat. Could Lokonga be part of a Rice swap deal in January? I'm not a fan of these swap deals. I don't know if they'll be doing that.
I think
Arteta believes in Lokonga as well.
Yeah.
I actually think he backs him.
Yeah.
I know us as fans, we can be quite critical of him, and don't get me wrong, he hasn't had a great campaign here at Arsenal so far, but he has definitely got talent, and I think he, in the future, will be a very good player for Arsenal, but I don't think Arteta is looking to get rid of him.
What's the Championship looking like?
Sell Lokonga for a bag of rice, Kevin said in the comments.
Look at.
I like the pun you kind of did there. Chrissy Carney with super chat says, great signing, saves us 50 million against Mudryk. And we get a player who's proven in the Premier League, as well as a good cover for crucial positions. James, I believe that is the last of them so far. Again, thank you everyone. I just want to round off this. Burnley very quickly. They're 5 points clear at the top. They're looking good. They're 16 points clear of Watford in third. They're looking very good for a place in the top 2. Mm-hmm. Company's doing a fantastic job. I don't know what style of football Burnley play, but I imagine he's learned a lot, taken a lot from Pep Guardiola. Lokonga's the player he had at Anderlecht and was really speaking so highly about him when we signed him. I think a loan there makes complete sense. I think it will toughen him up. I think it will give him the experience. I think it will give him the confidence. I think he's going back to a coach that, has worked with him. I'd even say, because I was talking about for the summer when Burnley get promoted, I'd even say, if we are to get another midfielder in, why not let Lokonga go now to Burnley? The only reason we need depth is because Lokonga hasn't looked good enough, not because we don't have the numbers. Sure. If we're being brutal, we have Odegaard, Partey, Xhaka, and then you've got Vieira, El Neni, Lokonga, and then even Smith Rowe, and even Zinchenko. So there's not a lack of numbers and options for midfield. It's that we are not as trusting as some of those players who are behind that front 3 to come through. There are some I've got some real faith in, others not. So if you get someone in that can really add quality depth, then why not let Lokonga go now? It's a good way. It's a good thought. And something to leave you with. Why not let Lokonga go now? And guys, we are coming to the end. Brian says, guys, we are getting him at his prime. 7 goals already. Now, please, if you're watching now and you've made it to this point and you missed some of the start, watch some of the start. We really did go through every angle of this signing. The manager debate that he had at Brighton and the conflict they had. We spoke about the player himself, goals and assists that he's had so far. Will he fit into this Arsenal side? Many topics were covered throughout this live. Check it out if you didn't catch the start. I know a lot of it was a lot of super chats, so thank you for everyone that joined us. Want to leave you some thoughts. Are you happy with the signing? A lot of people in the poll said they are. Are you happy with it? He is a 28-year-old player. Is that too old for you guys? Is it going to fit the system? And
quickly, no, it's not. Carry on.
Yeah, of course. But these are
I know these are the questions.
Leaving thoughts that I want you to go away with.
Because we didn't address it. No, it's not too old at all.
Is it too old? Will he fit the system? Will he fit the style of Mikel Arteta? There was some disciplinary question marks. And obviously, he's got more goals currently than Bukayo Saka. Someone mentioned in this, and that's right. It's with 7 goals and 2 assists. I know Bukayo Saka has 7 assists, but it's a good signing for me. I'm sure James is happy with the signing. Do you want to see more come in by the end of this window as well? It's still open until the end of this month. Do we need more signings? But from here on the live, from me and James, welcome Trossard to Arsenal Football Club.
Absolutely.
Take care, everyone. Have a good rest of your evening, and we'll see you again very soon. Peace.